Hello, welcome back to my channel. Happy December 6th. It is the 6th day of our yarn advent calendar adventure. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently today because I'm at my apartment, clearly. And I did not bring my yarn advent calendar here, but I did bring a couple of the boxes here in anticipation that I would be opening them and I wouldn't have time to like go to my studio just to open the advent box. So I brought the advent boxes to me. I did not bring the whole calendar though, so it's gonna be a little less exciting. Let's open it. It's right here. Day 6. Cute little box. Let me just remind you what we have going on because it's getting a little bit chaotic, which seems to be standard on this channel. It's fun, but it might be a little chaotic. Okay, so we made a sock, which we'll have another pair. Like, that's done. Those yarns are already like for that project. We don't have to worry about that sock anymore. We're making the parallelogram blanket with all the yarn that I don't know what to do with. Or maybe the yarn that's in colors that I'm less attracted to. I like most yarns, but I think because I'm seeing so many of these in a short amount of time that that my eyes are drawn more to some than others, you know? Like, I don't dislike some colorways, but I don't immediately know what to do with them. So I'm kind of into the idea of putting all the ones that I don't know what to do with into a blanket because they might be really different. The blanket might look weird, but I think by the end of the blanket, like, no matter what colors I use, the blanket's going to look amazing, right? That's what I'm thinking. So that's what we're doing with the yarns that I don't immediately know what to do with. We also are knitting the Sophie shawl. We've knit about half of that, and we're waiting to open a box that has a color that will go with the original colors, which were like pink and green. Like very lime green and bright pink. Oh, and then we're knitting a purple and orange vest. I don't know, that one hank that I got that was like purple and orange, it just seems so specific. My expectations of getting another one like that are very low. So I'm just gonna continue finishing that vest as fast as I can. I'm not really anticipating that I'm going to find another one in here. I don't know, that one just felt too special. But that's what we have going on so far. I do have a pattern from this issue of Pom Pom Quarterly that I want to knit during my yarn advent adventure. Let me show it to you. It requires 2 colors, but since we're doing mini hanks, I'll probably do 2 mini hanks and 1 main color. This is what the socks look like. They're the Synesthesia socks by Kiko Kikuno, and they actually use hedgehog fibers for these socks, which is what made me want to do this. Like, we need to knit some socks in this series, but this was perfect because they're using hedgehog fibers. Okay, and this is actually a double knit, and I've never done a double knit. I was like watching double knit videos yesterday to try to like understand how it works. So I'm very excited to do this. You can really tell the pattern in this sock. It's a little darker. It's kind of like a checkerboard pattern. And I did bring some yarn in anticipation that we get one that would work or that would appeal to me for that sock. I brought this gray Mad Tosh sock yarn as like my base for the 2 socks, and then what I'm thinking is I would use like a mini hank for each, and this would kind of make them a pair. Does that make sense? So if we get a yarn that I think would look nice with this gray, maybe we'll start those socks. If not, we might add to the parallelogram blanket. I also found another shawl pattern. I found another shawl pattern. Let me just look it up. Oh, I have it right here. It's called the Color Serenade shawl, and it's by Laura Seacats. And this one appealed to me because it is in fingering weight, and I think it uses 3 colors. So we'd probably have to use like 5 colors since we're doing mini hanks, or we could do 3 colors and maybe like some change from my yarn stash. But I was interested in this because it's kind of like, it looks like stripes of color and patterns, so I think it would be cool to do like 1 mini hank for each one. right? So that's an option. I don't know that we're gonna start that yet because we have some other things we need to, well, I don't know. I don't really want it to get too, I don't want to have too much going on since we have to wrap it all up by the 24th, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, let's open the box and see what we got for day 6. What do you think it is? Okay. Ooh, I see some aqua. Okay. Okay, this is one of the colorways that is beautiful, but does not immediately appeal to me. This section here is very pretty with the green and the purple. And then I really like the aqua on the end. I'm wondering if we just add this to the Parallelo Lamb blanket. Or maybe we should, I don't think I want to do it with the socks. I think I want something brighter for this. But maybe we start the shawl and then we do like a blue tones. Like we could do blues, greens, brown tones for that shawl. That might be really pretty actually. Okay, I'm gonna think about it. I have to wind this by hand because I don't have my winder and Swift here. So I'm gonna wind this into a little ball and then hopefully I'll come back with an idea. All right, I wound it into a ball. Very pretty. It is pretty. It is pretty. So what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm just gonna make this shawl. I normally wouldn't use a color like this. Like I feel like my first instinct was to put it in the blanket. And I am really eager to get back to that blanket, but I think I want to get out of my comfort zone a little and make that shawl with this. And if I don't like it, it is gifting season, so maybe there's someone in my family that I need a gift for, maybe my mom would like it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is we're making a shawl. And this, although this is what they recommend for the pattern, the hedgehog fiber sock, they recommend using needle size 6. And I am definitely not going to get gauge with this and needle size 6 because even when I knit the hedgehog fiber sock with my beloved 1.5 sock needles, it's very loose. So this is like very fine sock yarn to me. Like it's like literally like very fine. So what I did was I used the needles that I had with me, which were size 5. And I don't really want to use my size 6 needles because we have to use like 4 pairs of those for the Parallelo Lamb blanket, and I only have 3, so we need to save all of those for the blanket. But I did have my size 5 circulars, so what I did was I held this with some silk mohair from Rowan. I'm not sure the color because I like got this from someone's stash, and then I knit a little swatch, like a very little swatch on size 5 needles, and that's what it looks like. So this is what I'm going to use to start the shawl. So what do you think? I think it looks really pretty held with the mohair, and it's going to be like soft and fuzzy. Can you see? It's a very tiny swatch. Okay, so I'm going to buy the pattern and I'm going to start it, and I do have to go to work very soon, so I'll show you my progress before I leave for the day. And then I might like take it with me on the train and work on it a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I have returned, and forgive the lighting, it is the next day. So what happened yesterday was I ran out of time before I had to go to work. I usually give myself a certain amount of time in the morning to like knit and drink my coffee and like do whatever I want that like makes me happy before I have to go to work and like change my mindset and, you know, be working and stuff. I ran out of time and I started knitting. I knit about 4 rows of I think it's like a 6-row repeat. And then I realized I did something incorrectly. So one of the abbreviated stitch instructions is knit front, back, front. And recently I did another pattern where the instruction was knit front, back. So yes, I did read it, but my brain was just like knit front, back, when really it was knit front, back, front, which is 2 stitches increased, not just 1. So I did that. It was only a few rows, so I just unraveled it and started again. But then I had to like get dressed and go to work. So I didn't make it back to my camera until now. And it is raining outside, so it's dark in here and I don't have my ring light, so forgive me. Anyway, I made some progress. I probably spent about an hour total yesterday working on this. I haven't finished yet, so I can knit a bit of it right now. Probably spent about an hour, and I have to increase this section to about 40 stitches, so I have maybe 2 more repeats to go. And this is knitting up very quickly, but it is just the first part of the shawl, which probably knits like the fastest. Maybe the end of the shawl also knits the fastest, because you're like starting from nothing and going into something. That's what I have so far. I started here and I've been increasing to here, so I have about 30 stitches on there right now, and it's just a garter pattern. I just feel like I said that weird. It's just a garter pattern, so I'm just knitting and increasing. And the mohair is definitely taking over, but the mini hank does have a lot of blues and greens, so it's kind of doing like a sea. So you think of like seawater in a good way. Let me just remind you what we have. So yeah, I'm gonna do my last like row or two. I felt kind of silly because when I was leaving yesterday, I was like getting myself ready and I didn't want to be looking at my phone on the train, like reading the pattern. So I wrote it in this tiny notebook that I carry with me that has like all my knitting notes in it. And then I forgot the notebook at home. But since it was kind of a short repeat, it was like about 6 rows, like I said, and I had already messed it up once, which required me to then like read it more thoroughly, and then I wrote it down, I was able to remember it. So I just did this from memory on the train. Not trying to like toot my own horn, because it is a pretty simple repeat and it's basically just knit stitches and a couple increases. But yeah, that's what I did yesterday, if you were wondering. I'm enjoying this so far. I'm curious what the next section is gonna be. I didn't really read ahead. I just kind of like looked at the materials that were needed and like how many colors approximately they used. But it kind of looks like there's brioche in this scarf, in this shawl. So I'm looking forward to whatever the next stitch pattern is. I'm hoping it's like a good mix of complicated stitches, or like, you know, I don't think any of them are going to be crazy complicated, but I'm hoping it's a mix of like some, you know, mentally stimulating stitches as well as knit stitches. I do enjoy knit stitches, but if we're gonna be like knitting 100 stitches, or you know, some crazy amount of stitches in a row, like once we get to the middle, I might start to lose it, and then I might start to want to cast something else on. And you know, we're only 6 days into this series and I've already cast on like 4 projects. Let me know in the comments what you think of this so far. What do you think of the color? I'm like trying to decide if I should wait until the next day of Advent, so tomorrow's video, to continue this shawl, or if I should do like my next color section in like something totally different, like a color that I already have with me, and then do the 3rd color from the Advent calendar. I'm not sure. I kind of like the idea of just like going with whatever is in the Advent calendar, which is what I wanted to do when I started this series, or like when I thought about doing this. I was really into the idea of just like working with what I had. But as you know, I keep casting on new projects because I want everything to look like nice and cohesive, and I want the colors to at least like kind of work together. Part of me is still like wanting to make a like random color, like I just randomly picked these out of a box, literally, and knit this and it still looks cool type item, but I don't know, I'm scared. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate all of your thoughts. Alright, that was 2 rows. I feel like I should do something lighter. Like I have this Ritual Dyes yarn that's like baby blue, and I have more mohair here. I think I have a baby blue mohair, so I could do like a lighter color next and then go into the hedgehog fibers, like another hedgehog fibers hank. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna finish this section and I'll be right back. All right, there it is. There is the first section of the shawl. It's nice. The mohair definitely overpowers the sock yarn, but that's okay. I think if you get really close, you can still see a lot of the like color variation. Maybe in the next section that I use this yarn, this like yarn combination in, I'll use a different mohair that's lighter so you can see more of the sock yarn. Since it's already like a color changing shawl, like I don't see why we couldn't just change the colors that we're using. Like this would technically be color A, but we can just change the mohair and I don't know, maybe it looks fine. I need to think about it a little bit. But it's definitely dark and it's definitely like, I guess it's like a primarily like blue toned ball. It is like a lot of blues and greens and then like dark tones, which is probably why it's looking very blue and green with help from the mohair, and then you're really seeing like the dark specks and then some of like the purples. I guess it's fine. So that's the beginning of this shawl, and this is the Color Serenade shawl. Either we're gonna work on this again tomorrow or we're gonna do something totally different. I will see you then. Bye.